shit, Buzz and Buzz is up in here. Oh, we got the Bog Wizard. Nice. We got the new album playing on the fucking speaks. Oh dang, Mad Hatter's in here too. How are we all doing this evening? What? Alright, let's turn these tunes down. Wait. There we are.
What up?
What's up, man? I like the flag, like the banner.
Had to be done.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna throw a slide together real quick and live my shit up.
Great. I don't have the cool
doing the
front
same
lighting.
thing. But how is West Michigan?
West Michigan is West Michigan. I don't know. It's nothing special.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like 3 feet of snow right now, so we got that going for us.
Yeah. Have you guys had any snow yet or not yet?
We got dumped on last week, but it all melted since then. So
yeah, when we picked up the fucking Christmas tree all super early, and we were getting like flakes as we were picking it up, but it wasn't like anything that stuck or nothing.
yeah, it's like dumping like in the morning, like we just get dumped on, and then it's like gone by the end of the day right now. So we're in that stage.
Yeah, it's a good spot to be in. It's a lot less shoveling.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I hate yard work in general. It sucks.
I'm like begging my landlord to do the yard work in exchange for the garage that's attached to the fucking spot.
Also, I just realized you're wearing our shirt, and I'm wearing your shirt.
Oh wow, we're so good. Look at us, we're so good.
Look at that. Promoters promoting.
Yeah, but yeah, so we got some people in here now. You know, I think we can kind of. I mean, these things always get more views after the fact than during.
Yeah.
So you know, I think now's as good a time as any to actually start this.
I have no idea what we're doing. I'm just here for it.
Dude, me too. That's my whole life. Just be here for it. But yeah, so I asked some questions, or I opened it up for some questions to be asked by fans and stuff like that. I have some questions for you as well. Where's my money? No, I'm joking.
I know, dude. Yeah,
no,
I know
that 100% a joke. And then yeah, I wrote down some stuff, but yeah, I think if we want to start off with just kind of the album, what kind of inspired it as a whole, and then we can kind of go into, you know, tracks and kind of talk about that a little bit more as well.
Sounds good.
But yeah.
Should I introduce myself first? Is that?
I suppose, yeah, we can do introductions. I guess not everyone knows who we are, but.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I am Harlan Link. I am the drummer, synth nerd, producer, manager, mixer, master, social media person, and dungeon master for the band Bog Wizard.
Yeah, you're everything besides bass and guitar.
Yeah, and lead vocals. I do backup vocals, and I do occasionally lead vocals when I'm allowed. So I guess sometimes, but.
But yeah, so you are, for all intents and purposes, Bog Wizard.
The Bog Wizard.
Yeah. But.
That's right. I mean, I would be nothing without Ben's crazy 8-string doom and his voice. Yeah. So that's a lot to it. And then Colby's laying down the slick like Sabbath, funky bass. So I mean, I can do a lot of promotion, but if I don't have that backing me up, I got nothing.
Oh yeah, 100%. There you go. You get all the love in there for that funky bass, man. Dude, that bass is, I like it. I like what he's thrown down there as a person who also dabbles with bass. But yeah, so the album as a whole, what's kind of like your story, your vision for the album as a whole?
So I wouldn't say there's like a kind of a cohesive story. Like we try to, like, all of our music is really story driven. It's really it's all based around Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is really story driven. So our music just ends up being story driven. And that's a really good way for us to write music and come up with lyrics instead of like all the, you know, the angsty bands and the, you know, we can't take our band seriously enough to be like, this is a serious subject. So it's like, this is a serious subject, but also it's like 10 layers of Dungeons and Dragons and being a massive nerd first.
Yeah.
So overall, I wouldn't say there's like anything cohesive, but we definitely went heavier. We went angrier. I think this last year and a half has just been an angry year and a half. So we kind of channeled that. It was really our mindset for the last year and a half, 2 years almost, of where we were mentally is what Miasmic Purple Smoke ended up becoming.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. And then
each song, of course, has its own tale to tell.
Yeah. So I think, you know, if we just kind of work, you know, our way down through the album.
Hold on.
Oh, nice. I wish I hadn't drank all of mine, and I would have had one with you. Actually, if you're gonna, we got the purple, but we don't have the smoke.
Cheers. So this is a bog water, our fancy little beer from Starving Artist Brewery here in Ludington, Michigan. It's a local brewery that dude's a huge metalhead, and he's a big fan of vinyl. He's a big fan of like just music in general. And he approached us one day and was like, "Hey, you want a beer?" And I was like,
Yep.
Yes, I do. that was like number one band goals. Let's get a beer, and here it is.
Yeah, there you go, man. Fucking not a lot of bands have, like, especially bands your size, don't have beers, you know?
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And honestly, I kind of like that beer more than, like, the Trooper and, like, some of the other band beers are... I kind of feel like a lot of the band beers aren't super great. Like, they're awesome marketing-wise, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, typically...
I feel like it's mellowed out, too, because I know when you got them first, they kind of got, like, a little bitter. It's kind of mellowed back down now.
Yeah, because the first two I had, I was like, whoa! And then, the second two, I was like, all right, now we're back in.
Now we're here.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I guess if we wanna start from the top, you know, and kind of just work through the album and kind of just talk about each song a little bit, kind of give some context, and kind of like where you guys were and what you were going with, you know, for each song.
I'll go like track by track here. So we opened with Barbaria. Barbaria was basically just like, I came up with this stupid heavy riff. Like, mind you, probably 90% of this album we recorded based off of me going into a walk-in cooler and going like for everything. So we got all these stupid recordings. One of these days, I'm gonna like tear those off my phone and like
that's
compare them to what the final product was.
Yeah.
But yeah, we started off with just that nasty sludgy riff, and it was just like, holy shit, that is brutal, that is heavy. What does this make me think of? Yeah. And that's usually how a lot of them start. It's like when we came up with the name Bog Wizard, we wrote the song that became The Wizard in the Bog, and we were like, what does this sound like to us, even without lyrics? And it was like a wizard just slogging through like a swamp or a bog, and I was like, Bog Wizard, and we just rolled with it since then. So that tends to be what happens with our music. We just like commit to something and then write the lyrics to fit it.
Yeah.
And that one just made me think of like all the barbarian characters we played over the years in D&D, and then just rage and anger. And that is an angry song. Yeah. And it actually has my debut heavy growly vocals in that song. I do some little backup in previous tracks. Like the EP, I do this like crazy screech on a few songs. Like Shapeshifter has this like just stupid vocal in the background of it. And I didn't do it for From the Mire, but this was like my first like deep growl. Yeah. And the only line that I do in that song is smash the face. The rest of it's been.
That's awesome, man.
That's actually a reference to I played a barbarian called Face Smasher. We played this online game. And there was a whole like YouTube series like a buddy of mine ran, and it didn't go on for super long, but we ended up playing that for a fair amount of time. and he was just this big dopey, the typical barbarians, Goliath barbarian.
Yeah.
And he got his nickname, his like tribal chieftain kind of thing told him, you got to start using your head more in combat. So he started headbutting people more.
There you go.
Smashed his own face. He like broke his nose a lot, so he became face smasher.
Yeah, there you go. That's fucking great.
But yeah. Overall, though, like non D&D wise, though, it was definitely just kind of channeling. I worked in the public sector over the pandemic, and I worked with a lot of super stupid people, to put it lightly. And that was just kind of like my internal monologue of just like, oh, these fucking people. And it was kind of giving into the dark thoughts a little bit and expressing them in a more creative way instead of actually being super pissed off and outside of the song.
Yeah. No, I mean the last year was definitely it tested a lot of our patience.
Yeah,
so absolutely. Yeah, it's good to have a song to kind of get that out with,
And that's what we felt like just opening it up, click in, slam right into it. We didn't want to fuck around getting the album started.
There you go.
We just went, oh hey Gary, what's up? Yeah, I played D&D with Gary. Yeah, he knows. Oh God, what was his name? Grog, my goblin pirate, little psycho. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, and then we also used a clip. There's this Adult Swim pilot called Korgoth of Barbaria. I don't know if you ever caught it.
I didn't watch it, but I saw that it happened. Yeah, I remember seeing stuff on it, but I don't watch a lot of TV, so.
Yeah, it's like only online. They only ever made this one-off pilot and never did anything with it. It never got picked up. It never became a show. But it was just about this like barbarian character who goes through and goes to bars and plays everybody who crosses his path and that kind of thing. It's super goofy Adult Swim kind of thing, but
one episode.
What's that?
Just one episode.
Just the pilot. That's the only thing they ever made of it.
I'm gonna watch it. So for me, I can't commit to like seasons of crap. So if it's one episode, I'm gonna watch that.
Sure. Yeah, dude, super easy to pick up. And that's like the intro part of the intro sequence of that show is the clip we used in the beginning of that.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah. That's cool to have context with that. Nice. So the next, and actually what's currently being played in the background is the Rouge. Is that how you say it? The Rouge?
The Rouge. It's the Rogue. Come on. But yeah, the Rogue. So the kind of context of that one is I've always played Rogues. I've always loved playing Rogues. This is like my song. This is my track of like, they let me go kind of nuts on it, and that's why I've got like so many different parts and blast beats and just all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah.
And I was trying to embody like the different types of rogues, the psychos, the little flippy bastards, the sneaky ones, and it's like the whole ending kind of trails out, and it's like the rogue sneaking away, and but it's really telling most of that story. There's not a whole lot of like subtext because it's pretty literal about one of my rogues that was like my main character. That's like my icon I played over the years. Who's in Lauren Keene, and he was like this really paranoid elven rogue who like cut his ears off because he didn't want anybody to know he was elvish and like wore these like just this really super paranoid kind of rogue.
Yeah,
and he was my iconic character. We played so many campaigns with that character and different like. We would start over in a different session, and I'd be like, "I'm playing Lauren Keene," but he's like, "This is when he was a kid now," or like, "This is when he's like a teenager."
Yeah.
But,
Nice.
So I played him for a really long time, and the song itself is basically telling the story of his life and like all the crazy adventures. And there's so many references to like old campaigns we played, and like the Labyrinth of Madness, which actually Gary, who's in chat, that's Jordan, his stepson, basically son. I mean, at this point, but he ran the Labyrinth of Madness, this old classic campaign, and he upgraded for 3.5, and that was the iconic Lauren Keene session, and we make so many references to that campaign in that song. So this was that track is pure just nerdery and just giving into the nerd.
I love it. I've never really got to play Rogue in like a full campaign. Like I've made characters, but I've never been able to play them. Just because I feel like I am typically a filler character. Like I'll round the team out. That's kind of what I always end up doing because I'm usually the only, one of two people who have played before. So it's like, okay, well, I can kind of do whatever we need. Like, so I don't necessarily get it. But Rogue is always one that I've wanted to kind of delve into.
There's always like a lot of depth to them. You can play them in so many different ways. You can be like the sneaky bastards. You could be like the brute, bouncer type, Rogue.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah. Anyway, music instead of geeking out about D&D. That's probably gonna happen a lot.
Yeah. Well, naturally, yeah. So next we got Grimdark.
Grimdark. So the name is actually just straight up making fun of ourselves because it's the song churned out like just like people say like, oh, this is a grimdark setting, or it's like the grimdark Batman movies, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the song just sounded moody and grim, and we're like, this song is just grimdark as hell. So we just stuck with it and called it Grimdark.
Nice.
And this one's actually it's basically just Ben. I play like a little synth pad on it, but it's pretty like one note, and then I add an octave on top of it, and it like slowly fades in. But he's playing a baritone acoustic guitar, which is tuned to kind of match his 8-string a little bit, so we're kind of in the same range that we normally play. And he'd been kind of noodling around with something. There's a term for it, and I don't remember because I'm not a guitar player, but it was like, I think modes. I think he's like just messing around with like guitar nerd shit. I don't know. I just knew I had to hold down a note, and then everything was based off that one note that I was holding down. So that's as far as I went melodically. I was like, okay, I just sit there and watch you for a minute and a half, and then okay, cool, deal.
All right, that was a great break.
That's
especially after a 10-minute long song,
Yeah, we're planning on December 18th. We're hoping to do a local show here that's going to be kind of like our album release party kind of thing, and we're hoping to be able to play the entire album through start to finish, like in order.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And I was realizing, I was like, man, I front loaded this fucking album.
Yeah, you did.
My two hardest songs are Barbaria and the Rogue right now on drums.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's straight out of the gate, like freak out Barbaria, and then the whole ending is super fast, and then the Rogue is just a slog of a song.
Yeah.
And blast beats in it, which I don't normally play blast beats, but I was like, I'm committing to a blast beat part because it's like Psycho Rogue, going nuts. And then I get a break, though, at least. Like, Grimdark just hold down something and just take a nap for a minute.
Yeah. And because he's got to switch guitars too. So it's more than a minute and a half. Like he's switching guitars. He's got to do some stuff. He's checking his stuff out. You might get like 3 minutes.
If I'm lucky, I'll get like a good 3 minutes in there. Yeah. But yeah, the song though, he had some ideas, but he never really solidified what he was going to do for that. And we were like, let's just record. Just you play some stuff. We'll do a couple takes, and whatever whatever you end up with. If we need to do a handful of takes, you come back to it tomorrow. It was just kind of like we had some time during our recording weekend, that weekend, and we're just like, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
He fucking nailed it in the first take. No cleanups, no like punch-ins, anything like that. He just sat there and focused and played that bit, and it sounds super cool. It turned out really cool. Like there's a couple notes. Like I know he'd be like, oh, I choked on this note and like it didn't come through, but I'm like, oh, it had so much like tension and just like
sometimes that reserved or that kind of eeriness to it, like it adds a new dimension to the song. But yeah, what I was gonna say is that it's great because it is so different, but it is like it feels right at home. Like it doesn't feel forced, but it is that like natural, like, oh yeah, by the way, like we can play acoustic, and it can still be doomy and fucking eerie, but it's like, but it's also like, oh, a little palate cleanser, like like if you went from Rogue to fucking Purple Smoke, like that would be a lot.
It'd be a little intense, and that's definitely like flow of the album wise. That was kind of like the breath and just some ambience. Like we really like setting a story, like setting a scene, just like fucking D&D. Everything's D&D related.
Yeah.
We like to set a visual scene.
Yeah.
So after we recorded it actually too, and I did the synth layer and the guitar, we ended up doing, I put in a bunch of effects. Mm-hmm. So there's like a wind effect, and I nerded out so hard when I was doing this. I'm like, we didn't have any of this planned. It was just going to be the guitar and synth.
Yeah.
And I decided, I was like, no, I want to add some like ambient layers, even if it's just like wind or like foresty kind of sounds.
Yeah.
And it just went nuts, and I was like, okay, Ben, check this out. And I sent him this thing, and what I ended up doing was telling a story of some kind of character or, you know, NPC or something like that out in the woods, like chopping down. Sounds like he's chopping down wood. I kind of wanted it to be vague. Maybe he's chopping up a body. Maybe he's, you know, doing something.
Oh,
something metal going on.
Yeah.
And I even geeked out enough so he's traveling through the woods and you can hear his footsteps, like, so he's like stepping on leaves. And I freaking constructed every little piece of this too. So it wasn't like one big clip. I took 100 different clips and like mashed them all together.
Yeah.
And so you can hear him like walking on leaves, and he's like walking on mud, and then he's walking on stone, and then he's like walking up wooden steps, and then you hear like a door creak open. And I even had it like so like the reverb cut out on the ambience when he walks inside the buildings. He's no longer like outside. He's like in this shorter confined space. And then you hear him like sit down, and it's like this kind of monstrous sort of grunt at the end of it. And I wanted it to be like, you know, just challenging your perceptions of what you thought that was the entire time, basically.
Yeah.
And I wanted to leave it up to interpretation. I didn't want it to be like, this is what this is 100%. It's like,
yeah,
what do you think it is, basically, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Because it is in the background. You know, it's not like you're up in the front, then it's less for interpretation.
Yeah. It's not the focus of the song, but it's adding some ambience to it. Yeah. And it kind of helps. The music sets a scene with it in combination. Yeah. And I actually had one day, I think it was actually when I got my second dose of the vaccine. I was all like feverish and like kind of crappy, and I was like sitting in the bathtub, and I was
fever dreams editing
I was doing mixes at the time. So like, a lot of times I'll just like I'll do a mix and then I'll listen to them all for a week, and then I'll go back and like tweak it some more, and I'll like do different speakers and stuff like that. Oh yeah, I know, right?
It is
you were there.
Really cool. Like, so it's funny, like with the different bands. Also, I just gotta say real quick, James commenting on that thick ass koozie being so chonk. That thin baby dick koozie.
Put it in an envelope.
Yeah.
Pack some shit with it. Look at this. Hold on, feature. Cassette. Can't do that with your thick koozie. You're like, hold on.
Let's see what we can do. We can do one, two, only two, but I can do two. So.
Yeah, but can you put it in a padded envelope and then mail it?
No, I put it in a box. You know.
That's adding to your overhead, man. Come on.
Yeah.
You know how cheap this fucking koozie was? No, okay. Anyway, we had a koozie war at some point during this. That's why I had it ready. I knew it was coming.
Yeah. All right, so now we're dropping in to the name.
You were starting to say something. You were starting to say something about bands.
About with the different bands. Process. So all of you have different ways of doing stuff, and because I try to make whatever your approach to the music is, like I don't try to stop it or change it or anything like that. Like how you guys do your process is that's your process, and if that's how you make your art, I don't want to stop it. So It's fun kind of seeing how each band, you know, kind of does these things, and yeah, with you it is getting the entire album once a week with tweaks, and it's cool kind of seeing from rough to finish and kind of seeing that transition, like that alone is.
I always felt bad because I was constantly like throwing mixes at you, and I was like, "Hey, here's the entire album," and you're like, "Yeah, get on that this weekend." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm excited, like hyped to hear it." And like you're like, "Okay, I'm gonna start it up today." And I was like, "Wait, here it is again." I changed it since then.
Yeah, it's already too late. Yeah, I'm already 3 iterations past you. When it is, because it is like when I listen to those, like I want it to be like a work aspect, you know, right? Where I'm paying attention to it. So it is difficult to get to, you know, an album once a week. you know.
Right. No, which I totally understand. It's like I'm throwing them at you just so you have them, and then if you get a chance, but I'm going to get my own feedback because I just carve it in.
I wouldn't change it. Like what I'm saying is I wouldn't change that for anything because it is neat seeing that process, you know, and because you guys are the ones that are editing it as well, right? So like I don't get that with Drugson or Empty Black because they're not the ones who are editing and mastering. So, you know,
man, what's that like?
Yeah, so like
that sounds amazing.
That is way different, you know. So, you know, we start off with just here's the like what we recorded. How do you feel about this? Great, cool, all right, let's work with that, you know. But
yeah, someday I might be able to like
let go,
concede some control over my art, and that's the biggest thing. Like I've had people that I know who are like, I can master for you and I'll do it cheap, and I'm like, I kind of just want to do it, like.
No, I mean, and that's the thing is like tough. It really is part of like. That's part of your sound. Like that is 100%. You editing is part of your sound. You know, if you like Drugson, they use the same guy for all their mastering and editing, and that's part of the Drugson sound, right? You know, because anyone else, they're gonna fucking edit it different, and that's gonna just produce a completely different sound. So you editing is Bog Wizard. You know, like if you end up not doing it one day, I'm not gonna be pissed at you. I totally understand it. I can only imagine how much fucking work it is, but it is your sound, you know.
That's why I had to like cut back on other creative projects. So it was like the practice once a weekend, like that's cool. Like it's not doesn't take up a ton of time. It's like, you know, 3-4 hours a weekend. You know, we have it planned out and stuff like that. And then like recording's a big process. You know, it's like a couple weekends of like just going nuts in our basement. We do it all in house. But then the mixing process is just like, okay, so I got like 2 hours of free time after work. I'm going to like grind on this one song. Yeah. Here's my giant list of notes for like each track.
Yeah.
It's a process for sure.
Yeah.
That's the bulk of the work.
Yeah. I was never into grinding for video games and stuff. But I feel like you've done some leveling the hard way. Yeah,
because I like you know about my level design stuff. Like, so for everybody who else doesn't, I do video game level design on the side too. And I've always been good. Like, I'm not a really technical like level designer, but I'm really good at doing the grindy bullshit that nobody else wants to do. And it's like a magic trick. Like, I don't know if you ever heard this thing. It's like magic isn't some crazy thing. It's just doing this mundane thing in a really smooth way that you've practiced so many times. Either like people will be like, there's no way you would spend that much time learning this stupid little mundane thing. But that's how it works. Like that's probably 90% of my creativity is I just like grind the hell out of something.
Yeah.
Until it's like, there's no way he spent 100 hours doing this. And like, yeah, I did.
Nice. Yeah.
That's my secret sauce. Just all the hours.
Yeah. And it shows though. Like, and that's the thing is like, if you tell someone like, hey, someone recorded this at their spot and then mastered it, you know, like this doesn't sound like a home job, you know? And I'm pointing at it because I have it playing in the background right now. But
that's good to hear because I don't fucking know what I'm doing. I just do it. My first ever release was the EP. My second ever release was From the Mire. So I just kind of...
Yeah.
You know, I'm learning more and more as we make more music.
Yeah. I adapt. Do you feel like you're getting faster at it as well? Like, because you are doing it more, you know?
I have templates and stuff, too. So, like, when we record, we've got all the tracks laid out, and I just take, like, a previous song that we've done that fits, like, the theme. Like, actually, Submission and Defiance tends to be my go-to template because it had the kind of... It's got 2 different guitar distortions in it. It's got, like... clean vocals, it's got growly vocals, so it's got like all the pieces of a Bog Wizard.
It is everything that Bog Wizard is, and then you put it all together and that became the one song. Like
pretty much. So then I use that as like a template and I just like line everything back up. Just hit play and see what it does, and then I tweak it for like 3 months until it's where I want it, basically. And then obviously like special cases, like some songs have different vocals, like the black metal kind of distorted vocals we do sometimes, and all that. So it's all case by case, but that's at least like the base that I can start with.
Yeah. If we go back into the track by track, yeah, we got the namesake Miasmic Purple Smoke.
Yeah. So Miasmic Purple Smoke was kind of an experimental track for us. I think it's really different than anything else we've done. It's got some funk to it for sure. And this is, we've joked. I say we joke, but it's probably actually the reality. Each album I'm allowed like one song that I like take vocal lead on.
Okay.
And it's like Ben's a way better singer than me in my opinion, but like I get at least one track that I like do it. And Submission and Defiance, like the first half of it, I took vocal lead on that.
Yeah.
And with this one, it was me as a Purple Smoke. I took like main vocal.
Yeah.
The whole
track.
goddamn thing for a change. Ben's actually kind of like down in there, like this lower voice. He's singing along with me the whole time, but it's like pretty subdued.
Yeah.
But that one was definitely kind of stepping out of my comfort zone. And doing that live, I'm not really looking forward to because I did all these like really technical like
drum patterns,
notes and shit like that. I can pretty much do it, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna try to do that when we do our release show. But yeah, that one came together pretty quick, and that's actually telling us a whole story, which I think I've told you this one before, but it's like this sort of pious, I think of it as like a cleric or maybe a paladin or a priest or something like that, who has heard tale of this ancient evil in a swamp, which is the Bog Wizard.
Obviously.
Yeah, Natch. And he's decided he's going to go out and he's going to solve this problem for the area, and he's going to go out and see what's happening and go investigate, basically.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a song that's very linear story-wise. Like some of them are kind of like all over. They're telling little pieces of the story. This one is definitely like he's entering, he's doing this,
Yeah.
So in the song, he travels there, and it's kind of him, talking about it. It's sort of like his mental space of what he's thinking about. Now he's going to go take care of this thing, and then he gets this whiff of Miasmic Purple Smoke, kind of on the air, and you get the backup vocalist we have as our friend of ours, Nynisha Patterson. We get those little like oohs. Ooh.
Are you gonna have them come out for the record release?
I don't know if I can talk her into it. I've been wanting to talk to her soon, but she's gonna have to like come practice with us a little bit because she kind of did it like really piecemeal. Like we didn't have like one just like whole through. We had everything lined up. She would just kind of like pieced it together. Yeah. So and it was a while ago now too. She did all that, so I don't know. In practice, I actually do the wait whoa part myself.
Okay.
So that's how it started, and I was like, in my mind, I had, if we can get her to come do this, she's going to do it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do it on the album. And I'm really glad she did it because she does a way better job than I do.
You got to get her for the first show, just like that first, like the record release, and then like after that, like, hey, you can go do your thing and be awesome.
That would be great. I'm going to have to send her a message here pretty soon about it. Like, hey, so what are you doing on this weekend?
Yeah.
And she's like crazy busy. She's in nursing school, so she's like just insanely busy schooling and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, once you start getting in the story of the song, you start getting these hints. It says like an acrid vapor on the wind, and you get the ooh, and it's supposed to be she's actually the voice of the smoke in the song.
I like that. Okay.
So you get these little wispy parts that she's like trailing in as she getting, as the smoke is, appearing basically.
Yeah, I definitely have had smoke that goes ooh. Yeah.
Right, that's a good thing.
I've definitely taken a hit and been like, ooh, that was a little stronger than I anticipated.
So it was actually really funny explaining to her this story too, and like I'm like, yeah, so you're gonna voice the smoke. She's like, I'm gonna fucking what? I'm the what in this song?
I'm the what now? All right.
Yeah. So as the song gets more, the smoke becomes more prevalent, her vocals become more prevalent in the song as well. So in the story, he's traveling in, and the thing about the Bog Wizard, we've always said, like we've had this like kind of evil villain, it's almost like a stat sheet that we kind of keep in mind with him and like his abilities.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so nerded out about this shit. It's great.
It keeps Bog Wizard grounded,
Yeah,
like, he's not a superhero. He's an epic character, but he's got rules and fucking.
Exactly. Yes, thank you. So one of his abilities is that he can sense when people walk into his swamp. So it's like an alarm. Yeah. So if anybody touches the swampy land that is designated as his, he gets this alert in his head and says, "Hey, who's that motherfucker?" Yeah. So in Swamp Golem, or I should say the previous track, Fireside into and Stay Out, and then into Swamp Golem off From the Mire.
Yeah.
Fireside was supposed to be him chilling by the fire, smoking a wizard bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
And he gets that alert, and in the song goes dang, 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 and it's him going, "Oh, who just entered my swamp?"
This motherfucker.
And then Stay Out is him going, "Get out of my bog."
Yeah.
It's this big scare effect that anybody who's in his swamp can hear him and apply the the scared condition.
Yeah, he's what's it when you what's the spell? Because you can talk at a distance essentially, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to blink on that too. Shit. Yeah, I don't remember, but anyway,
fuck yeah.
Basically that's what that mechanic is, and then there you go. And then the song Swamp Golem was him summoning the Swamp Golem to go to kill these people and go get revenge on the village. Like that was kind of like a 2-part thing. And so in this one, he's already partook in his wizard bowl and he misses the alert. So this guy comes in.
Been there.
Yeah, right. The bog wizard is not infallible, is what I'm saying here.
Yeah, he's a human.
And, this is where it gets into the funny, just stoner joke territory, where he's in his little wizard smoke spot.
Yeah.
And he's chilling, and this guy creeps up on him on accident. The guy doesn't know he's there. Mm-hmm. He's chilling, and all of a sudden this guy walks up and sees this cloud of Miasmic Purple Smoke, which is what the bog wizard, whatever he smokes, is apparently. And he gets a big fat whiff of it.
Yeah.
And it just melts his mind. And that's
He's not an epic character. He can't fucking withstand that wizard smoke.
Exactly. It's too high level for him.
Yeah.
And
my weed is too high level for you. I love that idea.
Yeah. So it just wrecked him, and that's the it gets all doomy. The song gets real heavy, that part, and then that's where Nynisha comes in. It's the way, whoa. That's his mind being inhabited by the smoke.
His mind's going way, whoa. Holy shit.
Yeah, and it's literally wait, how, why, whoa. Wait, who, why, or wait, whoa, why, who. Something like that. I've heard exactly. There's a set, and the whole thing is him going, wait, what the fuck, basically.
Yeah.
And the bog wizard, while his brain is melting, essentially, the bog wizard realizes he's there and goes, okay, so I have 2 options. I kill this guy.
Yeah.
Or I scare the shit out of him, send him on his way packing, and it's another, adds to the bog wizard
mystique and kind of get out of the bog. Yeah.
So that's what he does in the second part of the song is the bog wizard comes out of the smoke, basically emerges, and he's being all flashy and creepy and speaking archaic tongues that means my doom. And the idea was that he was just talking, but the guy couldn't understand it because he was so tripping out.
Yeah.
He probably said something that was like, "Get out of my bog, you bastard!" And it was like,
"I don't understand what that meant at all." Yeah.
So the whole song is from his perspective and encountering the bog wizard, and then basically just having his brain melt. He's probably a drooling mess the rest of his life.
Oh yeah, I mean, you fucking secondhand smoke bog wizards, fucking purple smoke, and you're not of level. Sorry, yeah, you're not of level. You just fucked up your character.
You're wrecked.
Yeah.
So that's basically that track, and we had a lot of fun just kind of going back and forth. We had that funky sort of and just riding that for a while, and then just straight into the heavy and poor Ben's got a pedal tap dance. He doesn't have one of those pedal switchers.
Okay.
So he's got to be and hit 3 pedals to go into the doom tone for that. Because he has this kind of overdrivey sort of sound, and then just straight into this doom tone. And I feel bad for that for him. And you got to do.
Yeah, gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, yeah. He's the one who added the fucking pedals.
Yeah, man. You could have just fucking played the whole tone the same. I don't care.
Yeah.
Drummer, what do I get?
Yeah, it sounds the same back here.
Yeah, dude. I'm just back here hitting circles with sticks. What is he doing up there? Strings and shit.
Yeah.
Tuning.
Yeah, tuning. Yeah, so next would be Stuck in the Muck. The biggest out of left field, I feel like, for most Fog Wizard fans, probably.
Yeah, so we kind of just wanted to write a thrash song, and I had this really stupid idea. And I know you saw the whole idea come to
yeah.
I was like, dude, I just wrote this really stupid song, and it had just a couple lyrics, like a handful of lines, and I think I sent you the lyrics, and I don't remember what I all sent you, but I just remember you were there for all of it.
Yeah, because the lyrics I think you had written at work.
Yeah,
and,
yep.
Yeah, you had sent it to me, and it was just like a little note, and you're like, yeah, this is we're doing a thrash song, this is the lyrics, and it's gonna be fucking awesome. I was like, all right, I trust you. You haven't steered me fucking wrong yet, you say it's awesome, it's gonna be awesome, and I'm fucking here for it. And yeah, I remember listening to that, and I was really hoping for that to be the first song on the B-side, just because on the St. Karloff, the Interstellar Voodoo, so it's 45-minute, one song, 45 minutes. And they break the song right before a big hit. So
nice.
When you flip the record, literally the second you put the needle down, it's just, and you're before you've walked away from the record player, you're already just getting hit. And I was like, oh my God, that was such a great thing to happen unknowing, oh, I'm just flipping the record, no big deal. And then it just fucking hits you. And I was like, oh my God, we have that opportunity here. We have this opportunity. And I was like, yeah, but if we take the album as a whole,
yeah, that's kind of where I was with it.
Yeah.
I really felt like Miasmic Purple Smoke it's a long song. And I felt like it needed something. I didn't want Miasmic Purple Smoke straight into the Void Beckons, because the Void Beckons is a colossal beast of a song.
Yeah, that would be pretty. That'd be like drinking just a whole handle of fucking vodka to your face. It's just so much. Yeah, no, it definitely needs the.
Plus the end of Miasmic Purple Smoke, it kind of has that slow down part, and I didn't want to go from slow to slower.
Uber slow, yeah.
So I wanted to actually have a fast song in there, and then just drop down the pace to just glacial. Yeah. Just to really emphasize how slow the song was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Stuck in the Muck, though, I basically the song is just telling a story of someone who's walking through the woods or a swamp, presumably, and falls into a mud pit, quicksand type deal, and it's the whole song is him just thrashing and trying to escape from this, and then just going under and dying. Yeah. That's the whole idea.
The harder you try, the faster you die.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And part of the problem, too, is, when we were writing the album, I don't want to say it's a filler track, because we put a lot into it. We put a lot of work into that song still, even though it's a short one for what we usually do. Probably, note-wise, it's probably pretty similar to some of our other tracks. It's just condensed
actually, down. The Void Beckons and Stuck in the Muck have the same amount of notes.
Right?
Yeah.
Just one,
1 minute,
13 minutes or whatever the hell it was. Yeah. So we knew we needed something short for both the A-side and B-side. So the A-side, we ended up putting Grimdark in.
Yeah.
And then for the B-side, we wanted to do Stuck in the Muck. Because if you try to fit, you can only do 22, 24 minutes per side. And when you have 12, 13-minute long songs, that gets really challenging to, figure out how this works. So, the whole time we were fighting getting the tracks to fit and then have the album flow correctly, too. So it gave us some, wiggle room to maneuver.
Yeah.
I could put Stuck in the Muck at the beginning of B-side or in the middle of the B-side, whatever we needed to do to pad it out and give it the flow that we needed. And it helped a shit ton.
I also love that your 2 1-minute range songs could not be more different. It's totally fucking different, which also kind of helps keeping everything fresh, right? Because if you did another kind of version of Grimdark on the other side to get a short track that it wouldn't have hit the same. What with this allows it to really, give you that refresher that you need, but it's also like way different than the last one. And also allows you guys just to be creative in a whole new space.
Yeah, we had to prove that we could play fast. We play so much slow shit. I'm like, I can do fucking thrash. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, I got like really cool little double bass like flutters in there and shit like that. And yeah, that song's actually pretty fun. We've done it live a couple times now, and it was just like if we have time and we need a minute and a half filler, like just going to Stuck in the Muck, and Ben just looks at me and goes, "Stuck in the muck," and tack 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 tack. Like, it's so much fun to play live.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and then the last one, my personal favorite of all of your songs. The first time I heard this song, I was like, done, just done. Like, we'll fucking press the whole entire record because of this one song. I don't care. Like,
yeah, so The Void Beckons. I'm not going to reveal what the song is actually about. I know you know.
Yeah, I won't say.
It's too early. It's too early to really drop that bombshell on people.
God, no.
So, lyrically, it's got a lot of dark themes. It's talking about this, void, the ever-looming void in everyone's life, basically. But that's as far as I'll go talking about the lyrics on that one. But the track, like, conceptually, music-wise, we really wanted to, like, what would Bog Wizard doing Funeral Doom sound like? And, like, I've been listening to a little Funeral Doom. Like, I got into, like, Bell Witch and, like, some other shit, like. And I was like, man, I just want to do something just colossal and slow as hell and driving. And I came up with like the main riff for that. Basically, I was just like, down, down. And like, that's pretty much what like the whole thing started as. Like, just those like two notes and then down, 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 down. And we played around with it. We ended up just jamming on it. And I wrote some lyrics for it, and Ben ended up just like, what's the biggest delay and reverb? Like, how big can you make your vocals sound? Yeah. Do that for this song. And it's like, he's got some setting on it's like galactic delay or something, I think he calls it, on his pedal.
That's great.
And it echoes for so long, but you don't hear it because the song is so full. But it's like still sort of there. It's just such a cool effect live, especially.
Yeah.
Also, the challenge I have too is like his pedal does one thing, but we don't record with the pedal. So then I have to try to emulate it in Reaper with effects through there, and like the best I can.
Yeah.
And it's a weird ass pedal too, so it's a challenge, but I think I got pretty good to it.
Yeah.
And I also that was one we can't play that song to its fullest live because I do synth and drums. It's like full synth almost the whole song.
Yeah.
And I'm like fading it in and out and like doing filters and shit like that. I'm warbling. I got like a little adjuster that I can like sit there and tap on, and it goes wah, 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 and just crazy sounding thing. That was basically they just let me go nuts on synth finally on a track.
I mean, and for that track, it like the synth on it makes it extra. Like, like the track itself is fucking massive, but the synth in there, that's where it's like, for me, it kind of gets into like, could be like an iconic long song. Like, like if Bog Wizard gets big, like this track might be the track that like is like the big fucking long song where like people just get fucked up on, sit on the couch, and just blast the Void Beckons.
It's the dope smoker of Bog Wizards.
Yeah. It's the dope smoker of Bog Wizard. Yeah.
So like when we play it, actually, that song is super meditative, and like we didn't plan on it. Like we just like we jammed it out, and it's so slow, and you gotta like maintain this pace. And when you're drawing it that slow, it's like really hard to keep steady.
Yeah.
You kind of just have to like flow with it.
Yeah. No, everyone starts vibing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're just vibing the hell out of that song.
Yeah.
And Colby and I, our bass player Colby, him and I, like we just stay tight like almost the whole song, and then Ben goes into a couple solos and stuff like that. So Colby and I are just like laser focused on what each other's doing and keeping tight.
And
afterwards we're like, damn, I feel like rested almost after that song. Like I was so chill. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It's so much fun to play that song.
If you guys end up playing the album front to back, that's a great song to end on as well. Just kind of cool everyone down. Like it's probably gonna be fucking late, you know, like you know, like it's time to cool the fuck down. We're all chilling out, you know.
Pretty much, yeah. We've done it live a couple times. We played a gig. It was actually a 2-hour gig, so we're like, break out the long ones.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. We're only gonna play 5 songs. Joke's on you.
And so we got to play that song on it, and you could definitely. That one had some feel to it. Like I love playing that song live. It's so much fun.
Yeah, that's 100% most excited to hear that song live.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, we'll have to definitely make sure when we do the fabled East Coast tour, we're coming together. I swear to God, I keep talking to people who are like, yeah, you know, we're this band, we'll hook you up, we got this venue, and it's like every time I talk to somebody, it's like East Coast.
Yeah.
Like I've had a couple people, like there's some people out in California that want to play with us, and like a bunch of people down in Texas and like that kind of area, but like so many people have been East Coast, and I'm like, this is going to come together whether I like it or not at this point.
Yeah, it's actually, there's a coalition going on. It's the Bog Wizard East Coast Coalition that I started.
You've been putting it together.
I've actually just been contacting bands to contact you.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, cool. Yeah. That makes sense.
Because that's how much time I have on my hands. You know.
Right. Networking for us.
yeah. Between day job, this, light show shit, like personal fucking life. Yeah, and then I have like this whole other 80 hours a week to just contact bands to hit you guys up for an East Coast tour.
It's great. Dude, I appreciate it. Cool.
Yeah. No, but we're definitely gonna get you out here. Been talking to the guys at the Wizards Loft. And some ideas that are happening. So
as I say, I've been seeing. They keep seeing their posts of your lighting and.
Yeah, we went up there, dude. It was so cool. So, like, Boston doesn't really have, like, DIY venues and stuff like that because it's so fucking expensive out here. So, like, you know, just some person with a small amount of extra cash can't open something. But New Hampshire, that's a lot more manageable. And so they have 4 people kind of in on this building to make a true, like, DIY venue.
Nice.
So, yeah, that'll be sweet. And we'll definitely get you there and then get you somewhere in Boston town as well.
Hell yeah, dude. That's pretty much almost all of what we have is DIY. It's who's got a PA? Like, let's go.
Yeah, we got a PA in a room. All right, this is our new venue.
That's like we played a show in it's Hershey, Michigan, tiny town. I think the town is like 300 people population, and they literally had it was like post office, the township hall, and
then
like.
Is this the one that you sent me the picture of the crowd?
Which one?
It was like a boomer crowd at a music festival.
No.
Oh, okay.
That was different. Yeah. I can talk about that one a little bit. But this one, we had the township hall booked, and it was a band, Devilborn, actually, really super cool band that they're based around Hershey, and they play a lot of the same venues that we do around here. And it's like an hour and a half drive for us, which is for us is like really close because most of the gigs are like hour and a half, 3 hours, 4 hours getting down to like Detroit. Yeah. So like this was actually more of a hometown kind of thing for us almost.
Yeah.
We live out in the middle of nowhere, and then this was out in the middle of the nowhere past that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the township hall just beefed it super hard, and they didn't have the person who was supposed to give us the keys to the venue left town with the keys.
Oh yes, I remember you saying this. Yeah.
So it was like we literally had the vehicles packed. We were all loaded up, ready to go. I was putting my shoes on to get in to start driving there, and I get a message from Devilborn guy saying, "Hey, so I can't get in the venue. I don't have the keys." And we were like, "We're about to be on the road. Like, is this event happening?" You're like, "What's going on?" Yeah. And super credit to him because he pulled something off. It was like a half hour later. So like I said, this town is like literally post office, township hall, restaurant. The restaurant across the street from the township hall was like, "Yeah, dude, you guys can play in our backyard." And we were like, "Let's make this happen!" Like, hell yeah. So they were super cool about it. The restaurant was super awesome because we were very loud. We brought the whole Bog Wizard. We were planning on this township hall, like we're planning on like bringing the building down. Yeah. And then they gave us more space outside, and we were like, "Oh, now frequencies are going everywhere. We can turn it up now. Like,
yeah, this is great. Yeah.
This is the one I sent you. I think I had that video of the water bottle.
Yep, yeah, shaking off of his bass, yeah.
Yeah, so Colby, he used to own a recording studio like down in Ohio, and he's been in bands longer than we've been alive, I'm pretty sure at this point.
Yeah.
So he's just got a ton of equipment. He's like really, electrical engineer minded, CAD. He does like CAD and stuff like that for his day job. And so he builds these cabinets, and he showed up actually for this really small gig at our local music shop, like probably 2 years ago now, with these giant subwoofers, and it was two of them, and it was like two 15-inch subwoofers facing like vertically.
Yeah.
In this homemade built cabinet, and he just like rolls up. And he's like, "Hey guys," and like on a dolly, like just drops this thing, and this thing weighs so much. And he brought one of them to that first gig, and we were shaking merchandise like off the racks.
Yeah.
So we go to this gig, and he brings a second one.
Yeah.
And those are front and center. That's what the water bottle was sitting on, and like,
yeah.
The intro to From the Mire, the You Decide. It's got like this sub voice that like it gets lower and lower and lower in pitch, and it kind of comes with the demonic voice while it's like talking about all the dangers of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And I hit that. We usually start our set with that because it's like nice little intro, and then we go into either Submission, Defiance, or whatever track. And I have that playing, and as the voice is getting deeper, my entire like little stage I was on is like starting to vibrate, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Colby, what have we done?" Like,
we've unleashed the fucking Kraken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
and
dude,
the sleepy little town that we were in all heard Bog Wizard that night for sure. And we got some noise complaints. We had like the neighbors were like, "Please just stop playing music." Like, 'cause we had 4 bands scheduled too. Yeah. And everybody had hour sets. Like, it was a long ass day of music we had planned.
Yeah.
And so we had one band that ended up having to bail, and it was American Cheese actually open, and they were like pop punk, like actually really fun band. They were doing like all sorts of like old like Blink-182 and then like a bunch of originals and stuff like that. They're actually pretty fun.
Just real quick, I don't know if Instagram is still this way, but Instagram Live used to it was a limit of an hour. So we're at 3 more minutes. So if it continues going, then it's great, but just be aware that you might get
cut off. Okay, yeah. I didn't realize how much time passed. So anyway, we had American Cheese, then we had Fearless, which is a friend of ours band who played, and then Devilborn, and by the time Devilborn hit, it was like getting dark. Mm-hmm. And we did the lighting. I was actually running the lighting board. Like, it was so much DIY,
Yeah.
And we went on, and it was already like getting pretty late, and we were looking over, and I could see the windows of the restaurant like vibrating while we were playing. And I was like, "This poor town, like they're hearing us for like miles in each direction because it's just like woods and like houses.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping it.
Yeah. So they started complaining. We ended up cutting. Out of courtesy to the venue because they were so cool and let us play their last second, we cut our set a couple like songs short. Yeah. But it was getting pretty late, and it was so much fun though that night. We had so many people who were super geeked out to be there with us and hear us play.
Oh yeah, well, that's fucking sick, man.
It was good to be back on live, like a live stage again too.
Yeah. Your newest live gig you said was super fucking sick too, right? Like you said that was like one of your best shows that you guys have played.
Yeah, absolutely the best show we've ever played. We played at Mulligan's Pub in Grand Rapids. We played there once before. We played there like 2 years ago. It was actually like the last show we played before the pandemic hit and just fucked everything up. Yeah. November 2019. We took a break that winter to record From the Mire. Mm-hmm. We came out of it like March, April. We literally had like a 420 weekend gig planned 2020 and like all this shit planned. And we were going to do the release in July of From the Mire, and then all that shit hit and it just did not happen. But I mean, it worked out for us. I hate to say that we thrived a little bit in, being basement dwelling nerds, but I guess it works.
Yeah.
But we played Mulligan's Pub, and we were like one of the openers for that one. We played with a local band, Tiny Tree, which is like really proggy, really, really interesting stuff. It's like a 2-piece, but the guy like does all these different layers, and he uses looper pedals on the guitars.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Super, super cool ambient sort of, interesting proggy band. And they actually have JD Pincus was playing with them recently, the guy from Melvin's and like Butthole Surfers.
Yeah.
He was just playing with them recently. Like they did a show together, and I think he's part
cool.
of. Yeah, he's like part of their thing now. So it's blown up a little bit for him. But he helped us kind of get introduced to Mulligan's Pub, and he introduced us to some other bands we played with. Funeral Noise, which is another local doom band. That there's not many doom bands around here, so the fact that there's like another one was really cool, and they're actually really good too.
Yeah.
But we played that gig, but it was like a good crowd, but everybody was like a little more subdued, and everybody wasn't freaking out as much. But this last time, we just played there a couple weekends ago, and obviously the crowds are ready to throw the hell down right now. I could not believe the energy. Like the first couple bands and stuff like that, like they were like, "Oh my god, this is going to be so great." And we went on there, and they were moshing to like "Fear the Crown," which is like a pretty like slow like song in the grand scheme of things. But they're just like, like they have like a
ready for it.
I've got some video that I haven't got up yet. I still have to like crop it together because I had to like screen capture it from somebody else's like Instagram stories.
Yeah.
But like a group from like arm in arm, just like all headbanging to like "Fear the Crown," and like it was so much fun. We had our first ever mosh pit at that show, and we got them to just lose their shit to Barbaria, and like the whole ending, they just about tore the goddamn building down to the end of Barbaria. It was so much fun.
And
it was cool to feed off that energy too, because we played a lot of shows where like everybody's kind of hanging back and like, yeah, this is cool, but to have them like right up in front and just losing their shit on us as a unique feeling for us. We've been doing it. So much of this was during the pandemic. We couldn't play live. Yeah. That now we're seeing that feeling.
Yeah, no, it's cool to be able to experience that, and that's ultimately, I feel like that's what every fucking band wants, is like that kind of reaction. And like I'm definitely the guy where if I notice that the center is kind of getting antsy, like you see people kind of like shifting around a lot, and you're like, oh, they all want it. They all want it, but no one wants to start it. And like, it's funny for when Corey from Drug Sonic came out for High on Fire and Doom Riders, that was happening. So it was like big time. Like you could just see people, and they'd like shoulder each other a little bit, but they'd all just kind of move together. Itching. Yeah, and like we were kind of hanging back, and I was just like, 1 sec, and I just like. And I literally just ran up and grabbed like 4 people and moved them all forward. And boom, mosh pit. Fucking whole entire place broke out. Like the whole fucking place. And I was like, that's all it takes, guys, is like just move a body. Like, and then I immediately got back out and went back, and I was like, that's all they needed. Like
nice.
They feel it. And when you guys bring it and they're feeling it, it's great that, someone was out there and was like, fuck yeah, we're fucking giving it,
Yeah, because we had the band Iron Mountain played after us, and we were loaning their gear out, or we were loaned our gear to them, and Iron Mountain's a Detroit-based, like, stoner doom band, and they actually did a cover of God Luck and Good Speed from Weed Eater.
Yeah.
And there was so much energy when they went into the song, and like I had to be at like my merch table, and I was like, like I need to go out there. And they said just before they did the song they were going to do a Weed Eater cover, and I thought it was going to be Wizard Fight, and I was like, oh, if they do Wizard Fight, I'm going out there and getting in a Wizard Fight. Like, there's no stopping me.
Yeah.
So like, luckily I didn't have to do that and like, lose half my merch because I wasn't standing there or something. But but yeah, that was a lot of fun. They put a lot into that show too. That was a really cool one.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, like, now people know that that's a Bog Wizard show, right? Like that's what's expected at Grand Rapids when Bog Wizard comes in. That's what's expected, And so that's also going to keep helping you guys every time you play in that area, it's going to start compounding,
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that show, honestly, like, I'm still, like, mind blown about how much fun that show was, because it was so much energy, because there's a lot of times like I'm getting to the end of a set and like playing Doom, especially like long sets, and I'm just like, holy shit, I'm drained, and like this is so like everything's got to be like really hard hits, and I'm just like, I could have did that whole set over again with all the energy I was getting from the crowd on that one. Like,
Nice. Fuck yeah. That's great, man. So I had written down questions, but honestly, we've answered most of them.
Nice.
Yeah, through, just, I guess I will ask this one. Doom Gen. What is it? Where did it come from? And why is it so awesome?
Yeah, we've heard that because it almost is what we do is like Doom Gent because he's got the 8-string, which is like the iconic gent sort of sound. But he also does a lot of like the blah, like the gent sound, but like really slow.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it happened. I think it was just when we first started off, just Ben and I as a 2-piece, and we learned together right from the start. Like 12, 13 years ago, I think Ben and I started jamming together, and it was just like whatever space we had at like the apartment, like the first apartment I lived at, we had this little, we call it the half space because the ceiling was like I'm 5'7", and like I was scraping my hair, like my mohawk was scraping on the ceiling, and then we had like a buddy of mine was like 6'4", and he's like, yeah, dude, we're jamming.
Yeah, we're doing it.
And I got to sit down anyway because I was playing drums.
Yeah.
And we started with that, and he had a 6-string, and I actually was playing guitar originally, and I bought a drum kit, like a Toys R Us special drum kit for a buddy of mine. We're like, we're starting a band, dude.
Yeah.
And he never played the fucker. He barely touched it. He went down there a couple times, like hit it, and then I had this. I splurged and got this like $1,400 Brian Moore, Floyd Rose, like all the bells and whistles guitar. And it was way too much guitar for me. I jumped into the deep end like really hard.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't fun to play. It was miserable. But then I had this like $200 Toys R Us kit, and I was just like banging trash can lids, and I was like, this is actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
So we ended up, like roommates shifting around and all that kind of stuff. And Ben ended up being the one buddy who stuck around this whole time, and we kept jamming together. And it was pretty much most weekends he'd come up and he'd hang out with us. He lives downstate, about a half hour down, and he'd come up. We'd play D&D, and we'd jam, and we'd have drinks and stuff like that, and just hang out on the weekends, play video games and shit like that.
Yeah.
And then we eventually were like, hey, we're starting to not suck. We should turn this into something. And he ended up buying an 8-string because we knew we didn't have a bass player. We didn't have that low-end sound.
Yeah.
So we were like, just add some strings, bro. Like, you be the bass player now.
We just keep making them bigger. It's fun.
Yeah, so that's when the EP, we recorded the EP as a 2-piece, and that was the sludgy, low Doom Gent sound, I guess, that we started with because we needed a bass player. And then after we recorded the EP and we sat on it for a little bit, we were kind of had our feelers out. We're like, we need a bass player. If we're going to take this more seriously, like, we need a bass player. So we kind of put the word out, and I actually found Colby through Craigslist, of all places.
Nice.
And I put out a thing saying, hey, we're looking for a bass player. We're doing kind of this stoner doom metal, somewhere in the vein of Black Sabbath, and like trying to relate it to something people would know. And Colby actually used to be in a Black Sabbath like cover band way back in the day.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, dude, I'll play with you guys if you want to like jam sometime. We find out he is like less than a mile down the street from where I live. Like,
that's amazing.
Like, there's just like one big like road that I live on, and he's like basically at the end of it, like around the corner.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So and he fleshed it out. We stuck with the 8-string because we liked the tone of it and the sound.
Yeah.
But holy shit, does it suck to mix because I've got the bass in the same range as the guitar.
Yeah.
But it leaves a whole lot of overhead for synth and vocals. So I got a lot of room for those. Those are easy.
Yeah.
But keeping it from being muddy and like getting a kick to stand out in that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Doom Gen, I guess.
Yeah, man. Fucking the iconic Bog Wizard sound. And then our crowd questions, you've already kind of answered them. Favorite time a D&D game went off the rails in a hilarious fashion, and then when you're going to write a song about it. Well, you've talked about several hilarious D&D stories and how you've written songs about them.
I'm trying to think of a good one because that happens like every session. So it's like, which is the best one to pick? Like we've got a really hard time focusing. We're all a bunch of goofy bastards. Yeah. So we'll start playing D&D and then it just gets goofy and we're like, we're chasing pigs this session. When I was like the DM, like if I'm DMing or a buddy of mine's DMing, it's like, okay, so we're supposed to like go find this, lich. We're like, sorry, bro, we're chasing pigs today. That's, that's how it's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. I can't think of anything specific. I will say the song Shapeshifter, actually, that's a game that I DM'd, and it was Ben and my wife and another buddy of ours who played that game. My wife was actually playing a character named Epiphany, who my daughter is now named after, too, mind you. It was in the song Shapeshifter.
Yeah.
But that was telling a story of basically this guy who hires them for a job. It's like a level 1, most basic campaign.
Yeah.
And I was trying to make it obvious that he was kind of evil and he wasn't like all on the level, but they were just missing all the signs. So he hires them to go into this dungeon. It was this big old like double dungeon crawl where you had to get these artifacts from either side of it and then combine them in the middle to this like third leg of it. And it was a huge multi-weekend session. And I was hoping the whole time that they were going to realize that this guy had like bad ideas with this artifact. And I just was not, I don't know if I wasn't like making it obvious enough or like, I think they missed some rolls and like stuff like that. So I was like, we're just going with it. I guess they're giving him all this power. And and I saw that it was heading that way. So I had to plan for it. Nah, it was like, it went so off the rails. I had to like come up with an entire branch of our story like to fix it.
Yeah.
And we ended up, what it did was it opened this portal up and unleashed this army of doppelgangers into the world, and like froze time as this really cool visual sort of scene where like froze time and there's dust boats floating in the air in front of them and these tendrils of electricity whipping around and stuff like that, and these doppelgangers come out just like row by row and they like lose track of time of like how many of these things are going through, and then they ended up like they all come out. King and a queen kind of doppelganger, like thank them and then like leave, and then the entire continent they're on blows up, and like I had to redo the map. We literally blew up a continent and scattered like pieces of this land everywhere, and then the entire game after that was dealing with the consequences of that because it shook the entire world of it and created what was called the dire quakes, and that has fed so many campaigns since. Like we'll be playing a game and I won't bring it up and it's like, oh no, that didn't happen in this this world that you're in. You're in a different timeline or whatever. We have this all-encompassing world that we typically all play in. We just add to the lore of it. And, you're on some other continent. This session happened way over here. That kind of thing. But I've had it be a dramatic moment that the dire quakes happen elsewhere in the world, and all of a sudden it's like they're fighting this villain. It's like super dire, shit's going wrong, and all of a sudden this massive, literally earth-shattering earthquake happens. And just fucks up everything. And now there's all these like army of doppelgangers running around too, so I'm constantly like, oh hey, that guy's not who you think he is. Turns out he's a doppelganger. Like that. And basically years of campaigns have fed off of this one. This campaign went off the rails, so now we're rolling with it, and I guess you unleashed this army of dudes.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, sometimes you can't write this shit, right? Like, when you feed off the characters, sometimes the players come up with more interesting shit than the DM does. And if the DM recognizes that and kind of can roll with it, you can get really fucking weird shit that's awesome as fuck.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what happened. Like I said, the song Shapeshifter is about that party going into the dungeon and collecting the artifacts, and like the whole song is just telling that story, and then unleashing the Kalos rearranged. The last line of that, Kalos was the world, so it's like rearrange the whole world. And then we wrote a song about it. My daughter's named after it, and it's so much shit.
Nice. And then the other one was just names and what instrument and favorite class. But you had said your instruments, you like playing rogues.
Yep. Lauren Keene was my main rogue. I played Ben. He actually played a Dragonborn paladin named Beximit. That's been his kind of main character. This white Dragonborn, dragony face, the breath weapon, and all that kind of shit. Who worshipped the goddess of death. And that's actually the song off the Dustlord split, which I'm not sure if Spike's in here. I saw Dust Lord joined. The Dust Lord split we did. There's a song called Paladin of Death, which is that main character, and like we kind of decided we're slowly gonna work our characters or like write a song. And the Rogue was about my character, and Paladin of Death was about Ben's main character.
Nice.
But Colby, on the other hand, he still has not played D&D.
Yeah.
And I'm really ashamed of that.
Which is crazy if he lives a fucking mile away from you and he still hasn't played D&D.
Okay, to be fair, we were trying to avoid contact as much as possible. Like, we were wearing masks during jam sessions. But like, beyond practice, we like did not see each other.
Yeah.
During like kind of the peak of it last year, and then we've gotten a little bit, we're all vaxxed and we're all, getting a little more comfortable. But then we started crunching on. First was like crunch time on From the Mire. Then it was like we were limiting exposure, and then it was like writing and crunch time on Miasmic Purple Smoke and the Split album that we haven't talked about at all yet. Yeah. Which I still can't talk much about it, but it exists.
Yeah. I've heard it. It's good.
Yeah, and so we've been just basically on crunch mode this entire time, and it was like, okay, now we're doing gigs, so we got to like practice for that. And it was like all of our little bit of free time was going into those things. So we were just saying, like, okay, we got this one gig coming up, and we're taking a winter break, and we're like, Colby, you're playing fucking D&D finally.
There you go, finally.
We're getting them to sit down, and we're gonna plan some weekends and like do some big games, I think.
Nice. Fuck yeah, that's great.
He needs to be in on this geekery because he's been hearing Ben and I like, yeah, so my D&D character does this and this, and we could write the song about how this ability works this way, and he's just like, these fucking nerds over here, like, holy shit.
I got a fucking speaker that's gonna make you shit your pants. That's what I'm fucking doing.
That's his spell he's casting over here is.
yeah, he's fucking casting the shit your pants spells. Awesome, man. Well, it's good if I can catch up, and it's cool to kind of have this kind of experience, because very much a lot of our conversations is very very business and less laughing and goofing off and shit. I mean, I know you've been wanting
to do these live things for a while too, and I keep being like, yeah, dude, we'll do one, and then we never plan it. So we're like,
I know. It was so funny because I was like, oh wait, the fucking album's coming out. We got to do one of these because we didn't do this From the Mire. And I was like, fuck. Like, I keep forgetting to do it with Bog Wizard, but for some reason, I can remember with everyone else. I'm just like, what the fuck? But yeah, no, I'm glad that we got to do this, and I think it's exciting to get to work with you guys, and you guys have really. Like you guys being the first band that I get to work with was really awesome, and it was a very good experience. Like, and kind of helped bolster my kind of confidence in making the label and like kind of rocking with it. And
I'm glad we can help too, because I'm sure jumping into that is scary, obviously, to dump that kind of money, and like. Yeah. Obviously, we're not going to fuck you over, so like that helps that that. Like.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was like, oh wow, this is for sure a lot of cash to throw down, and it was just like, you know what, like, no, it's right. Like some things you just know is right, and it was just like, the fact that we're fucking close to selling the whole first pressing. Like that is legitimate. Like that's, to me, is fucking mind blowing. I was like. Yeah, there you go.
I think I've got less than 30 left on hand.
Yeah, I only have, just over a dozen.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good chunk that we sold out of here.
Yeah, dude. Because I was like, dude, if we can just break even within a year, I'll be happy. It's like, no, if we broke even in the fucking less than the first month. Like. Once people saw those fucking records, boom,
that pressing, dude. That pressing.
Like, yeah. Dude, people went after it. Yeah. No, it was great. And I can't wait to see those purple biscuits spinning on my fucking record player.
Miasmic Purple Smoke pressing. I'm really excited to see how that turns out. That's going to be a really cool one. And then
it might look like this. I don't know.
Maybe. We're lucky.
Yeah, it would. I mean, that would be pretty tight if it looked like that.
That's a pretty cool setup.
Dude, you know how long this took to make? Like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I just like, bleh.
It's literally
Oh,
two
imagine.
pieces. It's 2 pieces of 2-inch glass, and I literally just put 2 different dyes. So you got your lights and your darks. The white is air, and I just smushed them, and I jammed it into a projector.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, because I had done
Nailed it.
Like a little plate for the empty black one. I was like, well, I gotta have a fucking purple background for this one. And it was great that you set up a background. I was like,
right.
Oh, like when you sent that, I was like, oh, that's way better, because I was like, I was gonna come in with all these colors, and then you were gonna just be like, in my head, you're gonna be behind your computer. And I was like, oh, man. I was
it's
like,
all about
I should tell him.
shit. I mean,
yeah. Like I was gonna send you a picture of this, and I was like, nah, it's gonna be a surprise. That'd be way cooler.
Yeah, my setup's so ridiculous in front of me right now. You saw the picture where I got like
a so
ladder holding my phone and like a little table lamp like wedged underneath it, so I got some underlighting, but it's not lighting up this too much, and like gotta geek out. We're doing something. We're doing it right. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, definitely. But awesome. Was great fucking chatting with you. It was great chatting about the album. It's out now on all streaming services.
On all major streaming services and suppliers.
Yeah.
We got
cassettes, CDs.
We got cassettes. We have pre-orders of vinyl that will hopefully someday be here.
I'd be pretty tight if someday they.
I got split mats. These are available.
Yeah.
You can't put this album on your turntable yet, but you can you could pretend it's it.
Yeah, get a nice clear record to put on top of that. It's basically.
We got these sweet lime green cassettes, which I just saw Sleep has put out a lime green cassette, and I was like, did that already.
What are you fucking guys doing? Copycats. What are you fucking babies? Yeah. But yeah, so go out there, buy the record. It's still Bandcamp Friday if you're watching it day of. So snag that Bandcamp Friday. That way Bog Wizard sees all your beautiful money. Otherwise, go to Bandcamp, and then they... and we have the records for pre-order, cassettes, CDs, shipped now. Obviously,
cassettes are getting low already, so get on that if you want one.
Yeah, no, cassettes are low on both of our sides. I'm about to drop off 3 more to fucking residency.
So I have the 2 different merch stores. I have the Bandcamp and the Big Cartel. Yeah. And the Bandcamp, I sold down to like nothing. It like went 0. It was like sold out. So I was like, okay, I'll grab some. It's Bandcamp Friday.
Yeah.
So I like tacked on some onto the Bandcamp, and I took some off the Big Cartel. And I was like, I should go downstairs, double check. I want to make sure. I had a little bit of padding, but I was like, I'm gonna count them again and make sure. Yeah. So I put 3 on the Bandcamp, and I went down here and I counted them up. I was like, okay, I got this. Like I went back upstairs to adjust it. And I looked, and there was 2 on the Bandcamp, and I was like, "Wait, what the hell?" And I already had sold one. And the time it took me to
walk downstairs and come back up,
walk downstairs, check them, and come back upstairs again. Yeah. And then it was 10 minutes later, I sold the second one. So I'm like, "Okay, we're putting more on the Bandcamp."
Yeah. Nice, man. Well, congratulations. People love your music. Don't think otherwise. Like, you guys are fucking legit. It's fucking heavy. It's fun. It's different. It's great. And like I said, I couldn't be happier to have you guys on the label.
Thank you. We appreciate your vote of confidence in us, because truly we have no fucking idea what we're doing. We're just making heavy music.
To be fair, you seem to be knowing exactly what you're doing and not knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, nailed it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it's good hanging out. It's good chatting, and we'll do this again sometime soon, man.
Yeah, dude.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Well, I'll see you. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.